6 Clemson Tigers were drafted this weekend at the NFL Draft, and Clemson has done nothing but continue to solidify itself as one of the biggest pipeline universities for the NFL.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Clemson podcast. I'm your host, John Bivens. You can follow me over on X or Twitter, if you still call it Twitter, over at I am John Bivens. Real complicated name, I know. But thanks so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast at and over on YouTube. And we are part of the amazing and awesome, talented network, the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Here on the Clemson Locked On Clemson podcast, we are all sports, all passion, all of the time, where we are letting you know everything you need to know all about Clemson sports. Today is Monday, April 29th. This weekend was the NFL Draft, and Clemson had a bunch of players get their name called out. Last Friday, we made our predictions. Now today, we're going to go back through those predictions, talk about where we thought they were going to go versus where they actually went, and see where they line up and how they fit in with their new teams. So it's going to be a great episode. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it. I have a competitive side. I do have that in me. And that side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. It is the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. Join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now, free on the App Store and the Google Play Store. And so it was a busy weekend. I don't know about y'all, but I sat a lot this weekend, usually try to get active. A lot of this weekend, I was sitting in front of TV watching the NFL Draft, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. You got to see some amazing things like Atlanta. They can make a fool out of themselves with drafting a quarterback after paying a bunch of money for Kirk Cousins and upsetting your now franchise quarterback. I don't know. You got to see Sketch, if you're a big Sketch, Tuesday, great stuff over, right? Yeah. Great. He's a great guy, it seems like. Got to see him make a pick for the Houston Texans. Shout out to him. I think he also tore his hamstring running some drills with Caleb Williams and speed, but hey, hopefully he's all right. Prayers up to him. But, hey, you got to see some great things at the NFL Draft. One of the things you got to see was 6 different Clemson Tigers get their name called out and drafted. If you're one of our everydayers that listen to our episode, our podcast every single day, we appreciate you. And if you are, you got to listen to Friday's episode where we talked about how we thought 7 players would get drafted. We were close. We were really close to that mark. We had 6 of them. There was 6 drafted. So today we're going to go through. We're going to talk about those predictions, talk about where we thought the players would go, and then we're going to talk about where they really went and how they fit in with those teams. So we're going to dive right in with this. First round, our only player picked in the first round this year was Nate Wiggins. We did not make a prediction on Nate. I personally was hoping he'd go 22nd to the Eagles. I'm a big Eagles fan. Philly for life, fly birds fly. But we didn't take him at 22, which I was bummed about, but it's all right. He ended up going 30 to the Ravens. And if you listen to Friday's episode every day, as y'all know, that is a great spot for him. It is truly a great spot for him at the Ravens. If you want to know more why, go to that episode. We started the show off talking about why the Ravens are a perfect spot for Nate Wiggins. But now getting into the predictions. So I'm just going to go. These are the order. I'm going to go in the order that I predicted that the players would be drafted on. So the order is not how they were drafted. It's how we thought they were drafted. First up, Will Shipley. Electric running back, had a great senior day, did really good, right? Thought he'd go high. I thought he'd go real late in the second round to the Kansas City Chiefs. My thoughts on that were Jared McKinnon was gone. Jared McKinnon, right? They still have some good running backs over there, but Jared McKinnon was the special teams player. He was the pass catcher. He had a little shifty in the backfield. Will Shipley would have been a great fit, a great replacement for them. We were wrong. He went in the fourth round to pick 127. So bummed about that he was a little bit later, but pumped about that because he went to none other than my Eagles. He went over to the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, that's a great fit for him. I'm really excited about that fit, about him landing there. I think him and the Eagles long term, I could see being really special. This year, I don't know how much play he's going to get. I will say Eagles use a lot of running backs. Just knowing them for a while, you get to know the different feels, right? There's so many times they use multiple running backs throughout the season, throughout the games. They're not usually one that starts one and goes with them, right? It's since pretty much Brian Westbrook, LaShawn McCoy. Since those two, we've been kind of a committee at the backfield. So that's a good sign for Will Shipley. But what's a better sign is ahead of him is Saquon Barkley. Will Shipley gets the opportunity to go play offense with Jalen Hurts, with Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, one of the best offensive line in the league. Play with all them, but also learn from Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. Learn from Saquon Barkley at running back. Learn from Kenneth Gainwell, who's got some experience. If I'm Will Shipley, you might not see as much playing time as you want as a rookie, but man, you're going to get a lot of experience. You're going to get to learn a lot of things. So I'm happy. I'm happy as a fan. I'm ecstatic as an Eagles fan and Clemson fan, right? Starting running back, getting to get drafted by my favorite team. You couldn't ask for much more. Excited about that. Pumped about that. So it'll be good. It'll be really good. I'm excited about Will Shipley. Long term, I think those to be a good move. It might take 2-3 years before he really gets some serious playing time, but who knows? Kenneth Gainwell, I think, has one more year on his contract, so maybe they don't re-sign him. If Will Shipley can do good enough in preseason and throughout the season, maybe he comes the number 2 right after Saquon. So I think there's potential. If I'm Will Shipley, I'm pumped. I'm happy about that pick. Next up, we got this one. We projected Jeremiah Trotter Jr. We thought that he would go to the 3rd round to the Eagles. We were half right. He went in the 5th round to the Eagles. Man, this is the moment of the draft. This is the moment of the draft. I'm going to say it again because I want you to get this. This pick was the moment of the draft, and here's why. If you don't know, if you're not an Eagles fan or a Clemson fan, and if you're not both of these fans, you might not know either of this, but Jeremiah Trotter Sr., Jeremiah Trotter Jr.'s dad, played for Clemson Tigers, was a great defensive player for the Tigers, was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, and played a legendary career with the Eagles. Was outstanding, is known as one of the fan favorites of all time. Beside Brian Dawkins, one of the favorite Clemson Eagle players of all time. Great defensive player. And now he gets to follow his son, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. gets to follow in his footsteps, played at Clemson just like him, drafted by the Eagles just like him. This is special. But it makes it even more special. Clemson traded away 2 of their own picks to trade up for this pick to select him. They wanted it. Guys, if you want a feel-good moment, if you're just on this Monday and maybe you got the Mondays, right? You got that down. Go YouTube a video of the Eagles making that call to Jeremiah Trotter, telling him they were going to draft him. Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, Nick Sirianni, the head coach, and Howie Roseman, the GM, they made that call over there. And Jeffrey Lurie obviously was the owner when his dad was drafted too, and is like, I've known you since you were 3 years old. Come home, right? It was a special moment. That was really cool. As a longtime Clemson fan, as a longtime Eagles fan, one of my favorite moments that I've ever got to witness. One of my favorite moments of him hearing his name. I was laying down on the couch watching this draft, all right? And I remember I was kind of dozing off. I ain't going to lie. Look, drafts are good nap times, especially those later rounds, 5th rounds. There's not much excitement going on, right? There's some gems, but man, when they called his name out, I freaked out. I was like, let's go. There he is. I'm pumped. I'm excited about this. Honestly, I think he'll get plenty of playing time too. Eagles run a 4 linebacker on the field a lot. And so he's behind the Kobe Dean, who was a 3rd round pick 2 years ago in 22. Look, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., JTJ is going to get a lot of playing time this year. If I'm him, you couldn't ask for much better. This is exciting. Clemson fans, exciting. Eagles fans, exciting. Legacies. This is amazing. When we come right back, we're gonna continue going through these players. We've got 7 more players for Clemson that declared to talk about where they're going, where they're not going, and so in just a moment we will continue this. All right, game off. We got to pause here. We got to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there's so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get. You can get unique stickers, you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes. You can get cool new playing pieces to travel the board with. You can also get hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique minigames like digging for treasure or even a robot machine. And there's also these new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go, so get off the bench, go download it free on Google Play or the App Store. Again, the Monopoly Go app, it's fun with friends, it's a great time. It is free over on the Google Play and the App Store. Go get Monopoly Go right now. Welcome back. We are here with the Locked On Clemson podcast. And so let's keep going. Let's keep going through these predictions. We talked about Nate Wiggins with the Falcons or with the Ravens. Talked about Will Shipley with the Birds, right? Fly, Eagles, fly. We talked about Jeremiah Trotter Jr., fly, Eagles, fly, right? Exciting. Now we're going to go in more into detail. We've got 3 more players that were drafted, and then we've got 4 players that weren't drafted, sadly. But some great news coming from them. So keep going right on through this. Rook Aurora. We had him as the Nets player being drafted. We were incorrect. He was the second player drafted out of Clemson. He was drafted very early in the second round. We thought he was going to go in the 4th to the Patriots. He went 2nd to the Falcons. Man, I don't know why, but maybe proximity. The Falcons love some defensive players. Like, they love some defensive Clemson players. They traded up early in the second round, picked 35, and drafted Rook. Some other big-name Tigers, that have played at Falcons. Beasley, you got Grady Jarrett. You got so many players. Grady Jarrett, you've got so many players from Clemson that played on that defensive front that's going over the Atlanta Falcons. So we're excited about that. If you want to hear more about a breakdown over there, I'm sure over on Locked On Atlanta, Jarvis Davis is probably talking all about that. So go listen to that. But Rook, I think he's gonna get some playing time. He's behind David Onumata. I think he gets some spot. I think he gets some playing time. If I'm Rook, I'm excited about that pick. I'm excited about going to Atlanta, staying close to home. Next up, we had Tyler Davis. We thought Tyler would go in the 5th round to the Titans. He went to the 6th round, pick 196 to the Rams. This was the last pick for Clemson Tigers. Not the last pick we're going to talk about, but he was the last person called on the night of the draft. I think he should see a lot of playing time. I think Tyler Davis, if you're a Clemson fan, you know how electric he is. You know how great, how physical. He's a great player. I think he's going to see a lot of time, a lot of playing time from those Rams. The system they run fits him pretty well. He's behind Kobe Turner, who was a third round pick last year. But I think those 2 defensive tackles, they're going to rotate. They're going to switch on and off. Tyler Davis should be seeing some playing time, preventing injuries, and hopefully he has a great spring. So preseason. So yeah, I think he'll be good there. I think that's a good fit for him. And then the last player, we thought he would be the last one off the board for the Clemson Tigers in the NFL draft. Actually, we thought it'd be second to last, but he was drafted. We thought he'd go 5th round to the Bengals. This is Xavier Thomas, good old XT. We thought he'd go 5th round to the Bengals. We were right in the round. He went in the 5th round. He went to the Cardinals, though. Honestly, I think Xavier Thomas is a beast. He's so good. I love seeing the play. It was all over X, all over Twitter this weekend, where he just stuffs running back in the field. He stuffs quarterback. He's a hard hitter. He brings the bang. He brings hard hitting every time. So I'm excited to see him in the league. I don't think he's going to get a lot of playing time this year. Being on the Cardinals, he's behind some really good linebackers and Guinness Dardek and Victor Demicuji. I think he's behind a couple of good linebackers, unless he has just an outstanding preseason, outstanding summer camp. I don't think he'll get a lot of playing time, but who knows? He could. And if he does, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. But yeah, he got drafted. So really excited for Xavier Thomas. And those are the 6 players that were drafted from Clemson to the NFL. We had Nate Wiggins, 1st round, 30th pick. Will Shipley in the 4th round to the Eagles. Jeremiah Trotter in the 3rd round or 5th round to the Eagles. Rook went in the 2nd round to the Falcons. Tyler Davis, 6th to the Rams. And Xavier Thomas, 5th to the Cardinals. Now, we had 4 players that unfortunately were not drafted. We thought there'd be 7. The player that we thought would get drafted that was not was Sheridan Jones. Sheridan Jones has a really interesting storyline. He was earlier on, and a couple years ago, he was projected to be like a first-round draft pick overall. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. He kind of had a rough year too. That kind of slumped, kind of fell down. But anyway, we thought he'd go as 7th round. Honestly, I thought it'd be Mr. Irrelevant. I thought he'd go over to the Jets. They like those young cornerbacks. Pairing up with Sauce Gardner, let him learn from them. That'd have been a really cool. I think that could have helped Sheridan Jones out a lot. Unfortunately, he wasn't drafted, so we didn't get to hear his name called. But yesterday, there was some exciting news. The Buffalo Bills actually did reach out to Sheridan Jones, and they invited him over to his rookie minicamp, to the Bills rookie minicamp. That's exciting. That's good news. That's some good news. So let's hope that he performs really well there. Let's hope he goes out and earns a big spot. That would be awesome. We'd love to see that. So that'd be really cool, right? That'd be really cool to see Sheridan Jones go out, earn a spot at a rookie minicamp after not being drafted. Could be a cool storyline over in Buffalo. And then the other 3 players that we are correct, we did not think that they would get drafted, and we are correct, they did not. We had a couple of them. We had 3 of them. We had Will Putnam, we had Jalen Phillips, and we had Justin Maskell. And so all 3 of those really good players, right? 2 defensive, 1 offensive. We thought they'd be good. We thought we'd be able to see them. We didn't think they'd be drafted, but we thought we would be able to see them get picked up by a team, and some of them have. So we're gonna go through that in just a moment. We'll be right back, and we're gonna keep talking about that, keep highlighting these players. So in just a second, we'll dive into those 3.
It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your number one place to bet on every game. I'm telling you, folks, FanDuel is number one sportsbook in America, so you shouldn't waste any time trying any of those other apps. So here's what I need you to do. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. Yes, I said $150. That's $150, win or lose. And I'm telling you, can bet on anything because right now is the perfect time. Like I mentioned, the playoffs going on. NHL playoffs is going on. Baseball is going crazy right now. So you can bet on anything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks and much, much more. All on the app that's super safe, secure, and super easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON, and make your first bet an automatic win because FanDuel is America's number one sportsbook.
I don't know about y'all, but it is middle of the MLB season, and it's exciting, right? MLB season's amazing. I love watching some baseball. I know most Clemson fans find themselves being an Atlanta Braves fan, being the only close team to them. I'm more of a Padres, right? Go Pods. Give me some Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis. Exciting team to watch. Exciting team. Every year living on the East Coast, though, I don't get to watch most of the Padres games, but FanDuel Gametime has came and solved that. Gametime has come and solved all those problems with having trouble finding those last-minute deals or good seats or anything like that. Gametime is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I got in the Gametime app and looked for Padres coming to Atlanta, which is coming up soon in a couple weeks here in May. And I looked and I already saw some great deals on there. Saw some great seats that were available. I also saw if I wait, there's up to 60% discounts if I wait on last minute seats. So we're going to go down for the weekend series and we're going to wait until we buy them just so we can make sure we still get good seats because Gametime provides those, but also with a really good discount. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app now, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Here we are. We are back here on the Locked On Clemson podcast. Thanks so much for those sponsors. We appreciate all them for sponsoring us over here on Locked On Podcast Network and here on the Locked On Clemson show. And so right now we got those three players, right? We were just talking about them. We're going to keep going through those three players that weren't drafted, that we didn't think would get drafted and where they went. So we're going to start Will Putnam. We thought he's a great center, longtime player for Clemson. We didn't think he'd get drafted, but we thought, hey, we could see him sign. We could see him sign somewhere and play well. So what is a team with a struggling offensive line that needs some help? The Carolina Panthers. Carolina is the only team in the NFL that has never drafted a player from Clemson, and they're the closest NFL team. How does it make any sense? But they've never drafted a Clemson player, but we thought they'd sign Will Putnam. He actually has signed with a team already. He signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. Excited about that. We could have been joining Hunter Renfrow, but he got released, unfortunately. But no, we're excited for him. Will got signed by the Raiders. Excited for that. Excited for him to be able to go work his way through the ranks. Not got a great offensive line over there. He's a beast. He's a great player. We could easily see him up and playing better. Maybe to get into a starting spot by the end of the year. So excited for Will going out to Las Vegas. Next up was Jalen Phillips. Great defensive back. Played some safety, played some cornerback for Clemson. We thought he'd go to the Falcons. We already talked about it. The Falcons like Clemson defensive players. They've drafted a bunch of them. They've had a bunch throughout the years. They like the Clemson players, right? Especially defensive. So we thought Falcons don't have the best defensive back. They don't have the best secondary. Maybe go and get Jalen Phillips. Sign him. Don't draft him. You don't need to, but go sign him. We thought that'd be a good fit. He did get signed, but he got signed by the Los Angeles Chargers. He might not be too excited about the location, kind of far away from home from him. But good news is when you look at the Chargers, there is one standout name on their secondary, a guy by the name of Derwin James Jr., who is a lockdown defender. If I'm Jalen Phillips, I am pumped to be able to go get in the same room as him, get in the same field as him, watch, learn from a master. He's been in the league for a long time now. Get to learn from Derwin James. So I'm excited about Jalen Phillips. I think he should get some great experience learning from an experienced player, potential Hall of Fame player in the future. So he is over with the Chargers. And then the last player, the 10th player, that declared for the draft from the Clemson Tigers. We didn't think he'd get drafted. I think he might get signed. Unfortunately, he is the only one that has not been contacted or invited or signed or drafted to a team out of all the Clemson players. So 9 out of 10 on the first Monday after the draft, getting on a team. Really big, like really huge moment. But Justin Maskell, he's a great player. He's a great defensive player. He plays on the line. We think the Chicago Bears would be a great fit for him. Chicago just went out, spent a bunch of money, first overall pick on Caleb Williams. So they also need some defensive help, right? Like they really haven't had any solid defensive Mackles over there. So they need some defensive help. Justin Maskell will be a great fit for that. You're going to get him a little cheaper because he wasn't drafted. You can get him signing. You're not going to pay as much money, but he's a great player to go help that struggling line. We really think that he should be on the Chicago Bears, but overall, he deserves a spot on any team. So I think he's going to be signed. It might take a little bit longer than the rest of them. He's going to be somewhere. We will keep you updated if we hear about where he goes. But overall, those are the 10 players. Those are the 10 players from Clemson that went in the NFL. 6 drafted, 2 signed, 1 invited to a camp, and 1 is going to be assigned really soon. Man, that's success. That is success. Clemson is one of the best pipeline universities for the NFL. We consistently are up there with the top programs of the most drafted, most players selected in NFL. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Clemson is continuing. Dabo is proving that he is a Hall of Fame coach that knows how to prepare young men and take young high school seniors, high school graduates, and turn them into career professionals, great men, and great athletes. So excited about the future. Excited about all 10 of those players to see where their careers go. Excited to see how Clemson football continues to grow. And now on today's episode, we're going to end it with a new staple segment on our Locked On Clemson podcast called our Monday Momentum. Look, Monday can be rough, right? Some Mondays can be pretty rough. So there's literally a phrase called the Mondays where it's just being down, right? So every single Monday, we're going to do this segment called the Monday Momentum, which is where we look back over the weekend. Some weekends are great. Some weekends are great, like where Clemson baseball has a great series sweep, or Clemson football dominates on a Saturday, or Clemson basketball wins, or maybe makes the ACC tournament, makes it make the March Madness, right? Some weekends are great. Some weekends are rough. If you're a Clemson football fan, last year we experienced 4 weekends that were filled with disappointment, right? Even some of the wins had a little bit. Basketball, we lose some games. Baseball, we lose some disappointment times, right? Some weekends are good, some weekends are bad. Monday Momentum is a segment we're going to do that brings, no matter what the weekend has, it brings a spark of positive momentum that we're going to highlight about Clemson sports. We're going to take one moment, one player, one event, one recruit, one something from Clemson, and provide a little bit of a momentum for a great week, to start off a great week, whether it's turning down momentum into great momentum or it's just continuing spotlighting up, highlighting up. We're going to keep talking about that. So that's what Monday Momentum is. Today is our first segment of Monday Momentum, and we are going to talk about none other than the Clemson Tigers baseball team. If you've been following Clemson Tigers, man, they're playing great this year. They're number 4 in the nation. They're 34-9 on the year, 15-6 in the ACC as of today. Man, as of yesterday, they had a great weekend series. So our Monday Momentum now is going to be the weekend series with Clemson baseball against Louisville. Hey, it started off good. We won 12-11. It was at Kentucky or at Louisville. Won 12-11 on Friday. Saturday we lost 6-7. So 2 close games. Sunday, what do we do? What do we do? Momentum's in the bounce. We're going to lose a series. We're going to win a series, right? What's going to happen? We come out and win 17-7. Our Clemson baseball team won 17-7 yesterday in 7 innings in Louisville. Man, put a hurting on them. It was a great time, a great series, great game. If you didn't get to watch it, you missed an outstanding offensive performance. Listen to this stat. Out of all the Clemson starters, every single player that started scored and had a hit. Every single player had a hit and they scored in this game that started the game. Outstanding. Multiple players, as you can imagine, with 17 runs, had multiple RBIs. You had Cam Canarella, who's been on a tear, had 3 RBIs. Jimmy Obertop had 3 RBIs. Tristan Becerra had 2 RBIs. And then none other, Jacob Hinderleiter, shortstop for the Tigers, had 6 RBIs. He went 3 for 4, had another walk, had 4 defensive plays, scored twice himself. Man, Jacob Hinderleiter, Clemson baseball. Y'all get this Locked On Clemson's Monday Momentum spot. So proud of them, keeping that momentum up. We also had high momentum with the draft, obviously, but we wanted to highlight something else. So Locked On Clemson, Monday Momentum goes to the Clemson baseball team, Jacob Hinderleiter, for a great win to put us even farther into a great year over Louisville, Kentucky, 17-7. 17-7. That's wild. Great game. If you're not watching our Clemson baseball team, what are you doing? What are you doing? Watch them. They're great. They're killing it. They're doing amazing. Get out there and watch them. Go to the game. The games are cheap. They're inexpensive tickets. Go buy a ticket. Watch the game. It's a crazy environment. But with all that being said, that is going to do it with this edition of the Locked On Clemson podcast. Hey, tomorrow we're going to go into detail on basketball. We're going to hit it ground running with our basketball episode. And tomorrow's episode, we're going to go through this past season, talk about some of the best things that we saw from our basketball team this year. And then Wednesday's episode, we're going to come back and talk about some of the worst things we saw, because it was a great year, but there was some downside. There was some spots that we could see some improvement. So we're excited about those 2 episodes. Make sure you catch those out here on the Locked On Clemson podcast. Let me know what your thoughts on today. Let me know what your thoughts on where these players were drafted, where they're going. Would you rather see them someplace else? Reach out to me on Twitter right here at I am John Bivens. If you're more of an email person, email me at thetigerwire@gmail.com. I'd love to hear feedback on everything we've talked about. If you haven't, make sure you're following or subscribed over on audio podcasts, wherever you listen to it, Spotify, Apple. Drop a 5 stars if you're enjoying it. That would be a lot of help. Very appreciative. And then over on YouTube, if you're not subscribing, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Join us, subscribe. Join us as an everyday listener, where we can be your first listen every day for all things Clemson here on the Locked On Clemson podcast. We can't wait to see you tomorrow here on the next episode. But until then, keep that Tiger pride alive and roaring. And as always, go Tigers.